Hi everyone, my name is Ruslana Kruchek and I am co-founder, brand manager and art director at the VP Production audio agency. I guess you can clearly see this slide what I was doing in my life and career wise like all these past years, and mostly you can see this smiling person on the slide, the person who had her own challenges, personal challenges, career challenges, and everything. Life wasn't that great. I wasn't the happiest person on the earth, but I had everything to be the one. And most importantly, I had plans for my bright future. I had plans together with my partner Vlad, with whom we work at VP Production Agency. And the 2022 was supposed to be an exciting year because we were about to launch an exciting e-commerce audio brand actually this spring. We were really looking forward to indie game releases with whom we collaborate on their soundtracks. It's Trash is Fun game by Martin Teaport's team. It's actually a team of Ukrainian teens who were doing this game, developing this game for about a year now. And we were also looking forward to Foxtail update. It's also a huge love of ours. It's an amazing indie game, and we were really looking forward to its fourth chapter release. Apart from our agency stuff, we also were about to release a Total Empty album. It's our rock band, and it's actually the first album since I guess 2017, so it's almost 5 years have passed. So yeah, we were really excited for it as well. And it's actually the reason why I was about to record my first song, because I am training my vocals for several years now, and it was kind of huge deal for me to record something like this year, this spring. And as you can see, the 2022 was about to be the year for me. It was so exciting, but Russia had other plans, and that's why I'm recording this video actually, because at 5 a.m. on the February 24th, we woke up, and since then our life has never been the same. And I get goosebumps every time I recall that morning. I recall the sound of explosions. Because of them, I woke up, and I remember grabbing my phone and texting all my loved ones, all my relatives and friends, to see whether it was something that they heard as well, or was it just me. But you know at that moment that I woke up, I already knew that we are here, we're at war. So, and I knew that it was an escalation of this war in Ukraine, and that Russia invaded Ukraine in several regions. And it was really devastating to see all those reports that were coming like a flood. I was overwhelmed by the information I got from my phone. And these were the first images we saw. This one on the left, it was, I guess, the first one I saw. If I'm right, it's Kharkiv. And the later in the morning, we started to see pictures from Kiev, from Kherson, from all over the country. And I remember, as I actually was preparing for this speech, I went through my phone, through my messages, and I found those messages where I texted my friend that we have troops coming to Kherson region, and Kherson region is really close to Odessa region where I currently live in. And I remember it was panic all the way, because we didn't know what to think of, what we need to do, uh, where will they come to, and whether they will succeed to approach our city and the cities of people who we love. And I have friends and relatives and colleagues all around the country, and it was purely it was horrendous. And we didn't know what to do. And actually, possible options for every Ukrainian that day were these three options: either you flee from the city, or you find a safer place to stay, or you just stay at home. And none of these options was good enough, actually, as I see it. And it really it depended on the situation. But it's tough when you don't know what to do. And fleeing from the city, it was the case for like dozens of friends of mine. And it was also the case for Artem and Maria, guys from our team. So Artem, he fled from Kharkiv, like the day one, since the first explosions were heard. I guess he with his friends, they grabbed the car and they went somewhere. And when we texted him, where are you, how the situation is in Kharkiv right now, he said, I don't know much, because we are going, we fled from the city. And I remember asking him, where do you go? And he said, I don't know. we moving as far as we can, I guess, towards the western parts of Ukraine, and we'll try to find some place to stay there. And he also said that his family stayed in Kharkiv, as well as Maria's family, and that they are like shocked, and they're really really worried about them. And fleeing from the city isn't like a simple thing to do, a simple task, because there were like thousands of cars leaving the cities. There were like thousands of cars at every gas station, and here in Odessa as well. And there were like so many people on borders. Here you can see the picture from the border with Ukrainian border with Poland, but it was like the same thing at like Moldova's borders, Romania's borders, and all the stuff. And here you can see the picture of Kiev, where you can clearly see the smoke from like shelling, like that was that day, and people living in the city. And yeah, it's not an easy task to do, like to fled away from your city. And it was the same thing with evacuation trains. As you can see, there were like so many people. And actually, my friend, she lived in Kharkiv, and she stayed at Kharkiv for a few days when the war began. And she took this evacuation train to go also at western parts of Ukraine. And I remember those texts she sent to me. I remember how scared she was, because she had to leave the shelter to go to a railway station to find this amount of people. There were no tickets. There was a pure luck if you get on the train or not. And I remember how scared she was, because she didn't even know whether her boyfriend and his brother, whether they made it to this train, because she was alone crying around all those like strangers who actually comforted her like for hours, because she was so desperate to know whether her boyfriend made it to this train. She was so stressed out, and I remember being stressed out as well, because I was scared for her, because we got several reports that these evacuation trains were shelled by Russians, and it was like stressing to like waiting for her to text me that she's safe and everything all right. She managed to escape Kharkiv like safe and sound together with her loved ones. It was fine, but like this adventure, like it was hard for everyone. So as you can see, like if people decided to flood out from their cities, it wasn't a simple task to do. And the second option everybody had was to find a safer place to stay. For many people, this place become like shelters, either bomb shelters or metro stations, and it's also like such stressing experience where you need to understand that it was in February or early March, and it was still freezing cold. And on railway stations, like metro stations, it was like freezing cold, and people were all together, like without any means to live normally. But it was the safest place to stay for them when the cities were like constantly shelled and bombarded, because it was like the only way they could like stay safe. But it wasn't comfortable at all, and I had like several friends staying like this in bomb shelters and on metro stations. And yeah, for others like myself and Vlad, we also found a safer place to stay, which is my parents' place. It's in another part of the city where we live in Odessa, so it's in another city part where is much safer, because there aren't any like military objects and strategic objects, because here where we live, like with Vlad, and where our studio is, there were like several explosions during the first days. And actually when missiles hit Odessa, it was like few streets away from our current house. And that's why we decided that we'll move into with my parents, because it's safer there as a city part, and they have much thicker walls in their apartment that we did. And that's why we abandoned almost all our equipment, and we lost our capabilities to work actually. But it wasn't like it wasn't really like a big deal for us, because we were trying to find the best solution for the situation we found ourselves in. And the third option was to simply stay at home for many Ukrainians. And if you remember, during COVID-19, this phrase "stay at home," and I guess it was even a hashtag thing, it was something that actually illustrated the most safe, the safest way you can live. If you're staying at home, you're safe, you're like in a good position. And during this war, this isn't really the case, because yeah, it depends on your region, on the region where people are staying. But for many people, even if their home is isn't hit by a missile or something, it's always this thing that when you quit your house to go for shopping, for groceries or something, you see all this devastating things around your city. And here you can see the city of Sumy and Mykolaiv, and yeah, it's only a few pictures, but it's the same thing all around, like I guess eastern and northern regions. Like in Kharkiv, I bet you all saw those devastating photos of Kharkiv. And yeah, our sound designer Alex, he's living in Mykolaiv. He never quit the city, and for his family, it's constantly this problem of shelling and destructions around the city. It resulted that in that fact that they didn't have an electricity, water during like some time. And in Sumy, we actually have this team of Trash's Fun developers, the Martian Teapots team, and they almost all of them stayed in Sumy. But some of those teens, they managed to quit Sumy safe and sound, everything as well. But some of them stayed there, and at some point they didn't have no gas, no electricity, no water, and no like warmth in their houses, and it was still freezing cold. And I remember how scary it was, because we were constantly on our group chat texting, asking how everything is going. We know that Sumy is under attack right now. Talk with us, tell us what's going on. And some of those teens, and this guy is like, I don't know, 15 years old, and he was like, it's okay. I was staying in my room. I was on my computer. I was developing some stuff, and then all the windows just went out. They broke, and I have like a damaged arm. I'm bleeding, but everything is fine. And I was like, but God, this is a child, and why? I'm sorry. Why does he need to live through it? Like, he was just on his computer, like all like teens all over the world do. And why his window went out? Why his city is under attack? Why? So I remember it was horrendous when I got all those texts and when I saw it. But I was so delighted by their courage and by their humor. We were like laughing our asses out all the time on this group chat, and it was so nice. It was really empowering to see how they are like dealing with all this stuff that went their way. So yeah, so as you can see, like this all these free options, either fleeing or staying at home or find a safer place to stay, it's not great. None of them are none of them is. And really it's heavily dependent on the situation everyone, like every Ukrainian, found themselves in. And and what about work during these times? And it was hard to work at for me. It took me I guess 1.5 months to start working again, because whenever I tried to do something connected with creativity or my work, as I was doing in our agency before the war, I just couldn't. I kept having all these thoughts on all these cities that are either occupied or under attack, or all these people who are suffering, and I just cannot I couldn't wrap my head around it, and I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything creative wise. What we did, for all this time that we couldn't work, we fought on a cyber war. There were several initiatives that we were participating in, and I were talking with my friends and colleagues all around the world to let them know what's happening here firsthand, to advise them on how they can help Ukraine and all this stuff. And and the first person from our team actually who went back to work. I guess it was Marina, our assistant, SMM assistant, and she lives in Italy for several years now, and yeah, she had another work there on place, and she works with us part-time, and as we stopped all our activities, she didn't do anything in our agency, but she found a new work. She find a volunteering service that she became a part of. She spends many time educating Italian people on what's happening in Ukraine. She went to manifestations, and yeah, she was the one who started it all, among our team, and I guess the second person was actually Artem, who fled from Kharkiv. And yeah, it's not the great thing that I did. You can't see really this QR code up. Sorry, just a second. I will adjust everything. We'll do it for now. I will leave myself right here, and is like that you can scan the QR code. And actually, Artem was the first one among audio people in our agency to come back to work, and he worked on his personal projects, side projects, creating audio for explainer videos and all this stuff. And actually he recorded a collaboration with experimental electronic artist Hot Sugar. Maybe you know him. If not, I highly recommend you checking out his music. It's really nice. And actually Artem, his stage name is Stone Forest, and he collaborated with Hot Sugar, creating this song from a bomb shelter. Here, if you scan this code, you can listen to it. Yeah, I guess it will be nice for him. So yeah, and actually, I guess on the second day of war, of this full-fledged war, on the second day I was out in the city with my mom, searching for for meds for my grandmother. And yeah, and we were searching because for a few days there was a tough situation in Odessa with all the meds and all the stuff, and we were in a queue. Q, I guess it's Q. Q near the I forgot the name for the place when you can buy drugs, like meds and all the stuff. So yeah, and we were waiting for our turn to buy the stuff that we needed, and actually there was an air raid alert, and we were outside, and then we heard some sound of how the air defense system was working. So there was some missiles, or I don't know, drones that were hit by our air defense system. It was kind of scary because we were still outside. And at this point, one of our clients texted me, "Oh, can you please create some additional sounds for game?" And I was like, "Oh, God, do you know what's happening in our country right now?" And I'm like, okay, I will get to this stuff later. And actually, the second person who came back to work was Alex, our sound designer, who started to work on those sounds demanded by our client. But it took usually prior to war, this kind of task would take him a few days, and this time around it took him almost a week to create those sound effects, because either he didn't have electricity at his house, or he had air raid alerts all the day long, so he couldn't go to his studio and create something, or he was in such dark mental state that he really couldn't go back to work, and I completely relate to it. And yeah, and while we were like in this mode, like when we weren't actually working, but we still wanted to do something useful for our country, for our economics and all this stuff, we actually we launched a like a fundraising campaign. As you can see here, I will move myself once again. So yeah, we launched a campaign. We released a soundtrack for Wildcraft Ocean World mode. We released this soundtrack across all streaming platforms as well as on our Bandcamp, and we created the soundtrack, we composed it prior to war, but we decided to release it because this game has a huge fan base, and we said that, guys, you are really welcome to purchase this soundtrack, and all the money that we would raise from it, we will give to our Comeback Alive fund to help our army. And here, if you scan this QR code, you'll find a link to Vlad's Bandcamp. And there you can also purchase some other soundtracks, game soundtracks. It's Foxtail that I already mentioned. It's also Guide 1 and 2. And here are also Vlad's solo works. It's like ambient works, and also it's another album, like a small album, an EP, where he actually in 2020 he was finding a way to realize what's human mortality is. So yeah, it's kind of relevant right now. So yeah, and from this initiative we raised a decent amount of money. I never thought that we would raise so much with by selling music, because it's kind of a niche thing. But our friend from army said that it all counts, and this money can be really helpful for someone, and I truly hope it does. And yeah, it was the second thing that we tried to do, and we did the same thing for our Total Empty band as well. So if scanning this QR code, you can purchase releases from this post-rock shoegaze band if you love this stuff, and by purchasing it you're helping our army, and yeah, it would be much helpful. And yeah, as you can see, we weren't actually working, but we were still trying to do something. And the first thing that creative wise we come back to was actually Total Empty album, and I work on lyrics for it, and I wrote some new lyrics, and Vlad he were thinking about arrangements for songs, and we were constantly chatting with our drummer Stas, discussing this release, what we envision for it. And little by little our creative sides, they started to wake up. And at the same time we were heavily inspired by our friends at Martin Teapot's team. Here I will move myself once again. This developers of Trash is Fun game, they created a mini game named Russian Warship Go Fuck Yourself, and it's actually a game where you need to set zombie soldiers and their ships on fire. So if you like this concept, please be sure to check out it by scanning this code right here. And also you can check out the Foxtail mythology. The team, like the Foxtail team, they started to release this additional materials for game, as they couldn't come back to development. They still wanted to give something to their audience, and by scanning this code you can find Artem Vodry's Patron. It's the lead developer of the game, and actually he and his family are really good friends of ours, and we were so worried for them, because they lived near the city of Izium, and if you know where it is, it's actually right now it's one of the hottest spots in Ukraine, and they managed to leave this area right before the really tough situation started to happen there, and we were so worried for them, because it was another nightmare for us to just read their messages, and it was tough. And I'm so happy that they managed to quit the area safe and sound. And Wanda, she's narrative, if I'm correct, she's a narrative designer of this game. She's currently in Germany with her child, and Artem is still in Ukraine working on a game, creating art. So if you want to support them, please be sure to check out this link, following, scanning this code, and maybe even become a Patreon of this team, because they deserve it like no one other. So yeah. And I'm sorry that I'm sobbing time to time, but it's really emotional for me. Even if I try to laugh many things out and to remain this positive, it's really hard for me to still to process many of things that happen to people that I know. And as you can already I will move myself. I hope that for the last time, it wasn't really clever of me to not to make this presentation keeping keeping in mind that there will be also my face on it, but okay. Here you can see that after all this stuff, the restart of working on Total Empty, and all this inspiring stuff around us, and from our friends and our team, Vlad got really inspired. And when the friend of ours, she's a game developer as well, she asked Vlad to help her team for a world building contest to create a soundtrack for it. Vlad was so inspired, but we still wasn't in our studio. He didn't have any equipment, and he was like, fuck it. I'll do it on my iPhone with those standard headphones that aren't really made for this purpose. But he composed a track during few days, and actually it turned out pretty fine. So yeah, it was kind of interesting, and a real creative challenge for him. So, and after that, we knew that we had to go back to work, and now we are kind of back. As you can see, obviously you don't know what my apartment looks like, but I'm not at my parents' place anymore. For a daytime only, we still live with my parents, because it's safer there to sleep in. But we're currently here working almost full time, almost before the war. We can't still work on our full capacities, just because the energy levels aren't the same. But we're trying our best. We're currently in search for new projects, because most of our clients were Ukrainian companies and teams that now put their projects on hold, but hopefully we'll come working on them soon enough. And for now, we are looking for another clients and other projects to work on outside of Ukraine. Maybe we also I do all the stuff I did in the agency, like creating content or writing articles, so like for PR and all this stuff. But yeah, we are kind of back, but we still live during the war. And even when I was preparing for this speech, there were like several air raid alerts that made me go like in another part of my apartment. And there were also the missile strikes in Odessa like last week, before I like the week prior that I'm recording this speech right now. And yeah, it was horrifying. And it's actually like several minutes away from our house, like on the car. And another missile strike that here you don't see the photos of it because of safety reasons. It was just near our house. I walked several thousands of times by that place. And yeah, it's kind of scary to live in this reality, but we understand that we still need to live through it, because it's the only way we can like stay sane and help our country. And actually we even adapted our content on social medias to like this current context we're living in right now. And we made a really interesting material on air raid siren and why they sound like they sound, because we are hearing this sound every day, several times a day. Even Marina, who is in Italy right now, she has her family here in Ukraine. Specifically, her mom is in Odessa. And Marina, she also has these apps on her phone that wake up her at night by sound of sirens. She leaves them on because she wants to know whether everything is fine back in Odessa, whether her mom is fine. She wants to know what's happening. And yeah, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie you that it's like this simple and I feel safe and all this stuff and I'm creative again and everything is fine. But I know that Ukraine will win, and it's just the matter of time. And I hope our victory comes sooner rather than later, and you can actually help us like approach it. And here are some ways how you can help. I will move myself once again. Sorry. So you can see that this is Comeback Life Fund. You can scan the QR code here, or you can scan this QR code to get on the Support Ukraine Now website, where you can find all the ways, like almost all possible ways you can help Ukraine win. So I hope this speech was somewhat interesting and helpful for you. And I'm really thankful for your attention to my story, to our team's story. And I'm looking forward to the peace. And if you want to connect with me, here are some of my contacts. You are very welcome to. And I wish you a really good and safe day. And yeah, take care of yourself and take care of your loved ones. Peace. Bye.